Welcome.
Hey,
Por favor.
a hot seat.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm great.
Nice to see you. Bienvenido.
Gracias. Y gracias a ustedes por venir.
So it's nice to be with you. You're running again for governor, but this is in 2026.
2020.
So I would say it's early to launch a campaign, wouldn't you? Why are you launching now?
There are 4 other people, and they've been in for more than a year. And, but I think the question really is, why am I running for governor? Mm-hmm. I'm running for governor because my grandpa got here more than 100 years ago with a shirt on his back and a dream from León, Guanajuato. And that dream is becoming more and more elusive for a lot of the people here. If you're young, it used to be that buying a home was part of the American dream. Now renting an apartment with 3 people is part of that dream. And I think people are looking for a problem solver. They're looking for someone who's done it before. Mucha gente pueden hablar y hablan mucho. Yo también puedo hablar, pero también puedo actuar.
Yeah.
I am not just a guy who talks. I'm not just a guy who's running. I'm running because I think people need a proven problem solver.
You ran before.
Yes,
you
I did.
didn't win. What do you think this time you can win?
You know, as I said, I think I'm the right person at the right time. Mm-hmm. If
But
you ask
what went wrong before?
Well, first of all, let me finish that point. The right person at the right time, at a time in California when the majority of people saying, I love this state, but we're going in the wrong direction. So you said, what did I learn? Mm-hmm. Is that your question? I think I learned get in earlier. I think I learned that, people want to know what you've done, but they want to focus on the future. So they want to know what you're going to do. I focused last time a little more on the other than the second one.
Now, the last time you were in office was 2013.
Right.
So a lot has changed. Being outside and looking in, what would you say that has changed in politics in the past few years?
I don't know if it's changed in politics, but I think too many people who run for office are timid. They're not bold. They're afraid to be unpopular. I'm not. I'm not running to be popular. I'm running to get things done.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a few of the things that I did while I was mayor of this town. LA was one of the most dangerous cities and most violent cities in America. Took crime down 48%, not just by adding cops and taking guns off the streets, but with after-school programs, summer youth jobs, investing in prevention and intervention programs. I was focused on all of the above strategy. Downtown. Those of you who are young enough to remember downtown in the 1990s or 2000, it was a place nobody wanted to go. I helped to rebuild downtown. LA Live, crypto now. That was me, working with AEG. You look across the board, whether I was Speaker of the Assembly, toughest assault weapons ban in America, largest expansion of healthcare since Medi-Cal for kids, more than 1 million kids, 69% of them, by the way, Latino. I was focused on getting the job done. 2 budgets on time with a surplus, working with Republicans, something that doesn't happen very often.
So let's talk, what would you do if you become governor? Right now, a lot has changed also regarding undocumented immigrants in California. They now have Medi-Cal, and they could even have a government loan to purchase a house. That is, if Governor Gavin Newsom signs that bill into law. Would you sign that bill into law if you were governor? Yeah.
I spent my whole life. No podía hablar ni una palabra de español cuando empecé de 15 años defendiendo al inmigrante. Ahora me puedo defender. ¿Por
Más
qué?
o menos, no, muy bien.
Más o menos. Me puedo defender, hermano, en español o inglés.
You do. Great Spanish.
I learned to speak Spanish because I saw the way immigrants were treated.
Yeah, but for instance, Republicans believe that the program, they're not even giving more loans now because they don't have enough money to meet the demand. And they would say that American citizens are not getting those benefits if undocumented immigrants get them.
They're also the same people that say Mexicans are criminals and rapists. Look, If you're asking, should we secure our border? Every country has a border that they have a right to secure. Should we have a pathway to citizenship for the 11 million people that live here? Absolutely. As governor, I'll stand up for the notion that healthcare is a right. Everybody ought to have it. That our kids ought to have the best schools, whether they're documented or undocumented. That they ought to be able to get a college and be judged by the content of their character, not their status, especially when we know our immigration system in the United States is broken.
Do you agree with President Biden's executive order to limit asylum requests at the border?
Look, we've had millions of people come in. There's no question that some of them are political refugees. Many of them are not. To have a process for them to come is absolutely reasonable in my mind, particularly in the environment that we live in today. But at the end of the day, you can't do that without also providing a pathway to citizenship. You look at our economy today, everybody, it's immigrants, man. They're generating the wealth of this country. Latinos and Latinas are starting more businesses per capita than any other group. Many of them are immigrants. So yes, I'm for immigrants. I'm for the American dream.
But you're also for restricting asylum.
I'm also for, I'm also for making sure that we're living in an environment where we can sell the notion of providing a pathway of citizenship for these people. You can't do it when there's all the noise that you have right now. It used to be that there was a bipartisan notion that fixing the broken immigration system was something we ought to do. But today, we're not in that world.
What about this bipartisan bill that didn't go through?
Well, first of all, I'm running for governor and not for president of the United States.
But this
and I'll answer your question. I'll answer your question.
Yeah.
I'll answer your question, but
this is a border state, so it is important to know what you think.
It's a border state, and I just answered it. I'll answer it again, but let's talk about housing. Let's talk about all the things.
The border bill, do you agree with the bipartisan border bill?
Look, it wouldn't have been the first thing that I would have done. As I said, I've always stood for immigrants, but I understood why they did it. They did it because we're living in an environment where people think it's okay to say Mexicans are criminals and rapists when we just know that's not true. They're not. In fact, we know that the undocumented commit less crimes per capita than citizens and, the people born here.
Yes. Now, climate change, which is another important issue here in California. Newsom named you infrastructure advisory. What would you say is the infrastructure that California needs to be able to be ready for climate change?
Well, first of all, he named me infrastructure advisor because some of you who live in LA know that LA, under my leadership, built 3 light rail lanes and 1 busway, more schools than anybody in America, invested in the airport and the port for the first time since the 80s, since the Olympics of '84. I was focused on infrastructure. What do I think we need right now? I think we need to repair our roads, our bridges. I think we need more public transit. I think we need to make sure that we have an airport that is worthy of being in a global city. I think we need to put people in good union, middle-class jobs. When I was mayor, we did a thing called project labor agreements. And because of the affirmative action rules in this state, we couldn't say Latinos, women, blacks, but this is what we said. We're going to hire people in high unemployment, high poverty census tracts. Today, you have women on construction sites. You have Latinos, not only laborers, but operating engineers and plumbers and electricians. You have African Americans on construction sites. That was because I said, everybody has a right to work if they're willing to work, including people, if you want me to go back to immigration, including people that are working hard and come from another country. Yeah.
So just yesterday, I was talking to an immigrant family. They're all living in the same house, different generations. And housing is the big issue. They have to move, they want to move, they have to move like 2 hours drive from LA and work here in LA. How do you solve that problem?
When I think of that problem, I think of the LA Times during the hotel strike. A woman living in the desert area, going 3 hours to work, working in 2 hotel jobs, sleeping in a parking lot in between those 2 jobs. That's what we have in California today. The 4th largest economy in the world with the highest effective poverty rate in the United States because of the cost of living, because of the cost of housing. So what do? Streamline, cut red tape, cap lawsuits as I did for infrastructure, saying if climate change is the biggest challenge facing humankind, why aren't we treating it like an emergency? Why aren't we going at it and doing what we need to do to build it? Do you know that today, Texas and Florida, who didn't vote for the Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act, who didn't vote for the Inflation Reduction Act, they're drawing down more federal dollars than California. You know why? Because we take too long and it costs too much to build. So cut red tape, streamline permitting, cap lawsuits like we did for the Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act, and be smart about saying that every community deserves housing, including affordable housing. So those cities, hopefully, that want to comply with the law, they should be rewarded. Those cities who don't, shouldn't.
You could potentially become the first Latino governor in California in a very long time.
No.
You do it.
Wait. No, let me clarify that. I always thought that Romulo Pacheco.
Yeah, that was my point.
He wasn't elected. He was a lieutenant governor. We never elected a Latino.
There you go.
In a state with 40% of the population.
There you go.
But let me be clear.
So, but what does that mean?
Wait. Let me be clear about this. I'm not running as a Latino. I'm proud of who I am. I'll always stand up for my community. I want to be a governor for all of us. I want to show this state that you could be from any corner of the earth. Be a governor who unites us. That's what I did as mayor. First time around, some of us remember that election. People weren't ready yet. Second time around, you saw that people were surprised that I wanted to be a mayor for everybody. So I want to be a governor for everybody. I recognize that I'd be breaking a glass ceiling. And what I say, and I'm going to say it in Spanish, he dicho muchas veces que el papel de primero no es decir, ay, soy tan único, soy especial. El papel de primero es abrir la puerta para los demás, para los afroamericanos, para los latinos, para las mujeres, para los asiáticos, para todos que quieren trabajar y participar. So, if you don't speak English, Spanish, sorry, because somebody will translate it for you. Basically, I said the role of the first is to open up the door.
Exactly. Well, Antonio Villaraigosa, thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
We had a good time.
Good time?
It was short.
It was short.
Gracias.